February 27th, 1859. A man sits outside a row of homes in Washington, D.C. This is Philip Barton Key, the former district attorney for Washington, D.C., and the son of Francis Scott Key, whose poem The Star-Spangled Banner would one day become the national anthem of the United States. A mustachioed man walks up to Mr. Key, who extends his hand in greeting. A gunshot rings out, then another, and one more. Philip Barton Key lies dead in the cold Washington street. Hello, and welcome back to History in Focus, your one-stop shop for the stuff they didn't teach you in school. Today we'll be focusing on the life of one Dan Sickles and his impact on the United States legal system and the national parks. But before we get started, remember to give Freedom a ring and hit that subscribe button. Oftentimes in history, the most unexpected people and the most extraordinary events leave lasting impacts. Dan Sickles is one of those people. Born in New York in 1819, Dan Sickles was an ambitious man. The son of a politician, Sickles learned a printer's trade before studying law. He would be elected to the New York Assembly in 1847. In 1852, he married 16-year-old Teresa Bagioli, a sophisticated woman of a well-connected and wealthy Italian-American family in New York, against the wishes of her family, and they had a daughter. In 1853, Sickles was appointed to Corporation Counsel for New York City, where he would help to acquire the land that would one day become Central Park. That same year, he would resign to be Secretary for the U.S. Legation in London. A known womanizer, Dan Sickles supposedly took known prostitute Fanny White to London, leaving his pregnant wife at home. While in London, he introduced Miss White to Queen Victoria, using her last name as an alias of a New York opponent. After returning to the United States, Dan Sickles would be elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. While in Washington, the Sickles were known socialites, hosting parties in their D.C. home. At one of these parties, Teresa met Philip, and the two would begin their affair. Upon learning of the affair, Sickles confronted Teresa, who confessed in graphic detail of the affair. Dan Sickles had made up his mind. Philip Barton Key must pay. When Sickles saw Philip Barton Key waving a handkerchief to signal his lover, he grabbed several pistols and had his friend Samuel Butterworth delay Key from leaving and burst out the door. He approached Philip Key and pulled out his pistol, crying, "Key, you scoundrel! You have dishonored my home. You must die." He then opened fire. His first shot missed. With Key pleading for his life, Sickles fired twice more, one shot hitting Key in the groin. With his gun still smoking, Sickles walked to the home of the U.S. Attorney General Jeremiah Black, where he confessed to the murder and was arrested. Despite having confessed to the murder, he was allowed to keep his sidearm in jail and had several visitors, and even received a letter of support from President James Buchanan. His trial, however, would be even more shocking. Using his political connections, Daniel assembled an elite defense team, which included the future Secretary of War, Edwin Stanton. His defense argued that Sickles was not guilty on account of temporary insanity. This was the first time this plea had been used in the United States. As the trial wound on, papers would praise Sickles for saving the ladies of Washington, D.C. from Key's lusts. This was all part of his defense team's strategy of keeping the public focused on the trial, and papers sympathizing with Sickles. When the jury returned from a 70-minute deliberation on April 26th, they found him not guilty by temporary insanity. Despite clearing his name, however, Sickles' social life was destroyed by choosing to remain with Teresa rather than divorcing his wife. At the outbreak of the Civil War in 1861, Sickles would attempt to repair his public image, first by raising a brigade of volunteers. Despite having no formal military training, Sickles would be appointed a brigadier general of volunteers in the U.S. Army. At Gettysburg in 1863, Dan Sickles would find himself in the thick of the action, commanding the 3rd Corps. He had placed his corps in a dangerous position where they were under heavy fire. As he was rallying his corps to stay together, his leg was hit by a cannonball. In true Sickles fashion, he was carried off the battlefield on a stretcher, puffing a cigar. His leg would have to be amputated, and he would donate it to the Army Medical Museum. He would also receive a Congressional Medal of Honor for his actions at Gettysburg. After the war, Sickles would continue to lead a colorful life, serving as minister to Spain, where he was rumored to have had an affair with the deposed Queen Isabella II. He would serve another term in Congress, being instrumental in the preservation of the Gettysburg battlefield. When asked why there was no monument of him at Gettysburg, he was rumored to have replied, "The whole damn battlefield is my monument." Sickles would die in 1914 of heart failure. He is buried in Arlington National Cemetery. If you enjoyed this week's content, please subscribe for future videos. Let us know what you thought in the comments below and what you would like us to cover next.